Hello and welcome to this edition of the season starting edition. Kind of opening day already happened to slash the real opening day happened. Start of the season program. Very excited for the season. Very excited for this past two games. Did you have any? How you doing today, Pop?
No, we're doing fine. We talked a little earlier. Stepmother's having some blood pressure problems. But other than that, we got to upgrade the computer. It's not acting right. So, it's always something. But anyway, no, I'm doing fine. I watched both those games. So
my question is, did you have any takeaways or anything on like anything that you enjoyed? I have some things to talk about, but I wanted to hear what your thoughts were.
It's the first two games of the season, so it's hard to evaluate but what I saw was a pretty good Cubs team.
Mm-hmm.
They are pretty good, but I saw a better Dodger team, and the Dodgers, they're going to be tough to beat. If they play like they did in those two games, they're going to be tough to beat. But the Cubs didn't play bad. I mean, the Dodgers scored in the first game. They scored only runs in one inning. I mean,
an error contributed to some.
An error contributed to it. Now the second day, they were smoking the ball. So I mean, right. but the Dodgers my biggest impression was. My biggest impression from that two-game series was the Japanese fans got exactly what they paid for, because the Japanese players played well. Ohtani hit a home run. Maybe the only disappointment would have been that Freddie and Mookie didn't play, so they didn't get to see them play. Oh, and by the way, Betts lost 15 pounds with that flu he had.
Yeah, so so that's a good thing. There was another week off, so I don't know if he's going to be ready for this.
He might not be ready Thursday.
So he's got that flu or whatever that it's been going around. I can't get that flu. I get the flu that I gain 20 pounds. I can't get the flu to lose 50. I'm gonna switch it on you with the fans got what they asked for. MLB got what they asked for from Japan.
I got what I asked for. I enjoyed it.
That crowd was so energized. We sit here, and that is two kickoff games of two teams that has 5 players from Japan, and they sold out all their preseason games against Japanese teams, which one of the teams swept both teams. We don't lose fact on that. So Japanese baseball is real. And then, even though we're playing all of our players, it doesn't matter. And those fans were nuts both games in pregame, and we can't sell out postseason games at stadiums. So I hope Tampa loses their team. I have friends in Tampa. Too late. You should have supported your team when you had a chance. You've had plenty of time to support your team. But that I didn't get to see a lot. I only got to see tidbits because I was working. But man, I watched Shohei cross the plate, and they showed a replay of his home run. That's how close I was to seeing it. But I was really excited for MLB in Japan, Tokyo. They did it right, and congratulations to both.
The Japanese handled it perfectly.
Right, that Tokyo Dome is world famous. It's like Wembley. It's like Madison Square Garden. It's one of the places. When you arrive there and you sell it out, that means you've done something. That's where they do all their big like sumo wrestling and all that stuff. That's where it goes on. Is their big events. Like I said, that is their great venue. I know people wrestling, all that. That's where it's at. So that's a huge event and a venue to sell out, and they sold it out fast. They connected it with
scalping tickets for $5,000 to $25,000 a piece.
and connecting it with Pokemon. So Pokemon's got a third, fourth breath right now, being huge. So that connection was huge between those. That if people don't understand why, it's just a generational thing, and I don't quite understand all of it, but I know it was a big thing. So, congratulations to them.
Pokemon cards are almost as big as baseball cards now.
Well, I went to a show yesterday. It was 50-50 in there, and that place was elbow to elbow packed. It was so packed, I just finally left because I couldn't deal with it anymore. But I was happy for people. That was more of an old man get off my lawn moment for me. I just didn't feel like dealing with it, and but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the atmosphere. But anyway, back to the baseball was in the air because baseball was everywhere there. So I was real happy. Everybody did their part. Real good games. No travel problems. No issues in the stands or outside the stadiums against us. So it was good. Baseball is probably their number one sport over there. So it's huge. Now on to what the season has to bring or what has happened. Still other teams are in off season.
Well, before we start with the
I wanted any news.
One other thing I'd like to bring up. Day before yesterday, George Foreman passed.
Yes,
and George Foreman is one of those.
Love his grill.
Sports who was larger than sports.
I mean,
he was in a lot of areas. He was in show business. He every business he went into, he made a mint with his Foreman grills and all that stuff. And he was just now when he got in the ring, he tried to knock your head off, but he was a very nice human being. And everybody that I heard or read about, and when after he passed, talked about what a nice fellow he was.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to mention that because he was larger than life. And his fight with Muhammad Ali has gone down in history. The roping.
Yeah, right. And that he's one of those guys you don't have to follow sports to know who George Foreman is.
Know who George Foreman is, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up before we started.
Exactly. Yeah, because we both love sports, and I mean Foreman was in the golden age.
I've watched a little bit of baseball this week, but I've been watching March Madness. I mean, I do that every year. So anyway, but right. Patrick Corbin, who pitched for the Nationals for quite a few years, I believe he started with the A's. I'm not sure, but he had nobody had given him a whiff. I mean, after his contract was up with the Nationals last year, he did win a World Series ring with them in 2019. Sonny Gray of Texas broke his arm. He was hit by a line drive and broke his arm. Mm-hmm. And so the Texas Rangers signed Patrick Corbin because they may need another starter.
Yeah, I saw there's like a list of 5 starters that are out there. Nothing huge. And one starter that was excluded, that he can't even make the list of starters that are on free agency, is the same guy I always talk about.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer. He has absolutely no respect. I was like, oh.
And he also lost their left-handed pitcher Cody Bradford. He has an elbow problem, but they don't know if it's going to be serious or not.
I need to write just a comment to somebody in the know to tell me, because they don't talk about it. Nobody talks about it. Do you hear them talk about him on the MLB or anything?
No. None. They don't bring him up at all. He's not brought up. It's almost like he doesn't exist. When he was blackballed, he fell off the earth. That's
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's odd.
He said he's willing to pitch for nothing. He would take the minimum for 1 year.
Yeah, and Clayton Kershaw is going to start the year on the IR. He hurts pretty much everywhere. Minnesota. Oh, this is a surprise. What a shock. Royce Clayton running to first base the other day, and his hammy went. In the last 5 years with the Minnesota Twins, last 4 or 5 years, he's played 30% of the games because he's hurt all the time. He and Buxton are great.
Did Buxton run out there to help him off the field and he sprained his hammy too?
No, I think he ran out to help him off the field and fell and hurt his wrist. But anyway, those two guys, I mean, Minnesota would be loaded if those two guys could stay healthy, but they cannot stay healthy. They're just injury prone. So they don't know how long he'll be out. Tanner Bybee of the Cleveland Indians signed a 5-year extension yesterday to pitch for them. And McClanahan, I can't remember his first name for the Tampa. He left yesterday's game with a tricep injury, and he's their ace.
Right.
So that's not going to help them in the least. Pasquantino, he went out of yesterday's game with a hammy strain.
Man, I was like, I got to watch Royals games. I like Bobby Witt, but I want to watch Pasquatch.
All right. When we get into I'll get into this more in depth about Pasquatch when we get into the predictions. But anyway.
He's like, and
the Yankees. I haven't pitched since I was in high school, but I think they're going to call me. I think the Yankees are going to give me a call.
You got one inning left, didn't you?
I mean, Clark Schmidt is out now.
Yeah.
He's out. He's on the IR, and he's not going to be out long, but he's not going to make the season start. I mean, they're running low on starters. I mean, some of those guys have. Rodon is pitching well. Who's the other guy they got? Camelito or something like that. He's been doing well, but I mean they're just running out of bodies. Arizona, Justin Martinez signed a 5-year extension. 5-year extensions were popular yesterday, and also the Jays, Alejandro Kirk, their catcher, they signed him 5 years, $58 million extension. So everybody's signing people. The Jays also, their general manager said that they're only $50 million apart now with Junior. They were $500 million, now they're $50 million. So he said they will get that done, and he will stay as a Blue Jay. And Detroit, Jackson Jobe, who is the number 2 overall prospect in Major League in baseball, is going to be added to their rotation. And so is Casey Mize, who's been around a while. But Jackson Jobe is going to come up and join Struble in their rotation. So that's all the news I got. I mean, here again, there's about 5 or 6 players, maybe not known names, but people out with sore ribs or lat problems. I mean, abs. I mean, the lats and the strained sides and ribs, and it's just there's a litany of injuries. It's just most of them are just minor, and we'll find out Thursday and Friday when everybody starts who's out and who's in, because some people are not saying how long they're going to be out. That's all.
So I want to add something to people that are making starting rosters from Colonial Heights, Virginia, for the Oakland A's. Noah Murdock.
Oh, Noah Murdock's on the A's?
Yes. So they've had some pitcher injuries. From my understanding, he's making their opening day roster.
All right. We saw him pitch.
So he was drafted by the Royals, number 7th overall. He was born in '98. Do the math. So he's been in the minors for a little bit, but he's making it now. So age 26. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Good for him.
So just a little hometown.
Our UVA Cavaliers are ranked 23rd in baseball. But I want to point, we know this better than anybody because we're big Virginia fans. A lot of times they start off slowly. But when it gets close to the tournament time, that's when he gets the most out of everybody. And so
Yeah,
we'll just
'cause-
keep it.
Well, he's a guy too. Coach Bennett will play his younger guys on Wednesday and let them get some playing time because he knows he's going to need them somewhere in the year. So he's not one to try to win every game. Well, he wants to win every game. I mean, he's not going to throw them away, but he tries to get his younger guys, the future, some PT. When he said when they need them, they're not cold. I love that coach. Not Coach Bennett. Coach, what's his name? Yeah, for Virginia. I said Bennett, not Bennett.
Bennett was a basketball coach.
Yeah.
And the coach of VCU is going to Virginia to coach the basketball team.
So what else you got for us, Pop?
That's all I've got except for the predictions.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So let's start in the AL East. Who first do you think is going to win the AL East?
Well, before all the injuries, it was going to be the Yankees, but even without Soto. But now with all the injuries, it's hard because personally, I'm not sure the Orioles are going to be as good as they were last year because they didn't do anything they didn't add any starting pitching of consequence.
But what they are adding, they got to get to them, is they're adding back their 8th and 9th inning guys. Are coming back.
Yeah, yes, they have their closer and their setup guy, Canio, and then the closer.
Batista,
yeah, and they're back, and but you got to get to them. And so and the other thing is too, Henderson had a terrible spring, and he's having trouble hitting just like he did last year. And they're going to wait and see what he may get sent down again. So we'll just wait and see.
Ahead. So who are you picking?
It's hard, but I'm going to take the Orioles in first place, and I'm going to put the Jays in second place because I think Toronto's got enough pitching and enough hitting to make it work. You picked them last year to win the division. And then I'm going to pick after that. I'm going to pick the Yankees, and then I've got Boston, and then the Rays last.
I'm gonna go out on a limb just because of injuries and the lack. Because this team, I think, is going to, as some people have rated them one of the best batting lineups in the whole baseball. And they did add a key player for their field. And they got some pitching, and that's the Boston Red Sox. I think they made some moves. I think their second half of their year, they were coming on. That young talent, they got some good defense.
And Dylan Cease is in mid-season form.
What's that?
Who did they trade for? Dylan Cease?
Well, yeah, and they also signed Bregman. So I feel like they made some moves, and everybody else fell back with injury or didn't make moves. So I think the Yankees are going to fall back. They're going to have some injury problems. We already know about Stanton. We already know about their pitching. And then the Orioles.
But they do have one of the best bullpens in the game, so that's still intact.
Yeah, but you're going to start them, I guess, every game. And I think Tampa is going to – I'm not Tampa, but the Blue Jays will be second.
Yeah, I picked the Blue Jays to be second to the Orioles. The Blue Jays have a chance to win it all, but here again,
the Yankees and then the Orioles. I don't know who's going to pitch for the Orioles.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my problem with the Orioles, and they have some holes in their lineup. And I think the Rays will be last. I think the Cinderella. It's midnight, and I think we're going to see some down years. But they're
going to turn back into a pumpkin.
Yeah, and unless they have something in the minors.
I'm not sure where they're playing, West Fort Lauderdale or something. I don't know.
Right.
Now we're going to build a stadium, so
right.
They're a lame duck franchise.
You might as well play at a 9,000-seat minor league stadium. They might as well play in Klein Heights at our 400-seat stadium. AL Central. Who do you have in the AL Central?
To me, this is the toughest division in baseball. Outside of the White Sox, who are going to finish last, everybody's pretty even. But I am picking Detroit to win the division this year. Picking Detroit to win the division, Cleveland second. Now, here's where I'm going to bring up Pasquatch in Kansas City. If you remember correctly, last year, Kansas City was rolling.
Mm-hmm.
They started off slow, and then they caught fire, and they were rolling. He got hurt. They played 500 ball after that until he came back, and then they made the playoffs. So if he's out, how much is that going to hurt this team? Because it hurt it last year, and that's why I've got them finishing third. I've got Minnesota because two of their best players can't stay healthy, and then I've got the White Sox finishing last.
Right. I'm going to go with the Guardians first.
Because they do it every year.
Right.
They're
Royals second, Tigers third, because I still think they're not. But I think we're looking at three teams that are going to have 90-plus wins.
Yep.
And I think that's all three of them are liable to make the playoffs.
Detroit's problem is scoring runs.
And if some of their younger players, Riley Green came on last year, the big boy that plays third and first that's really had some issues. He seemed to start hitting last year. If they can, and they play in a huge ballpark, they'll be all right.
And they play the Grand Canyon, so I mean it's.
And I think it's going to be Minnesota and White Sox last. Right now they're listed first because it's alphabetical. AL West.
Well, this, like any other sport, it depends on injuries. Seattle probably has the best starting rotation in the game. I look at the Dodgers if you want to, but you look at Seattle's starting staff; they are loaded.
Well, Dodgers are deep. That's what makes them. Yeah,
they've got a decent bullpen. Now, last year, people forget this also. They had a losing record. They fired their manager, and when they elevated the other guy to be the manager, and now he's their manager. He finished above 500 and missed the playoffs by one game last year. So I'm tempted to pick Seattle to win in the West, but I'm not. I'm picking Texas because I can't believe Texas is going to have all the injuries they had last year. They just were annihilated with injuries. They get everybody back, and DeGrom can pitch at all. This is going to be a tough team to beat. So I'm picking Texas first, Seattle second, the West Sacramento A's third, the Cheating Stros fourth, and the Angels fifth.
Stros fall that much, huh? Wow.
I've got the Stros falling to fourth. Now, there's the Astros. It wouldn't surprise me if they won it.
Right.
It wouldn't. I mean, it's just what they do. But I just feel like they're going to go on down. I mean, they got a second baseman playing right field. Left field can't catch a ball. And then, it's just, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I feel.
And they traded one of their best players to the Cubs.
I think this division went from strong to being up for grabs.
Oh, it's up for grabs. It's up for grabs.
The one thing I do like about Los Angeles is their manager. I think they got the best manager out there. I like the Rangers pick, but I'm going to go with the Mariners. I'm going to go with the Mariners.
I was almost going to do it, but can they score enough?
The Mariners first, Rangers second, Astros third, Angels fourth, Athletics fifth. But the Athletics being competitive.
Yeah.
And they might not be fifth. They might end up third. That's how crappy that division's going to be.
I picked them to finish third.
Yeah. I love their team. I just feel like their pitching is lacking. Middle relief is non-existent. They might have the best closer if he's back healthy this year. So we'll wait.
Well, see, and I have a surprise team in each league, and my surprise team in the American League are the Sacramento A's.
Team to watch type of deal, or not surprised that they're going to make a playoffs? Yeah. Or
well, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but I watch this team. They're going to.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, it would probably be them or a resurgent Boston team.
That's a good pick too. Yeah.
So NL East, this is
this is 3-2. you have the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets, and then you got the two, which are the Nationals and the Marlins. Now the Nationals might be improved this year, but their record might not be any better because they're in that division with three killers. So, to me, wow, I'm picking the Phillies to win the National League East because of their starting pitching. They've got a decent bullpen. Their starting pitching. They got a whale of a lineup, but their window is closing, folks. They're getting older, and their window's closing. I'm not picking Atlanta because they still won't have Strider at the beginning of the year, and Acuna won't be back for maybe half the year. They don't know when Acuna will be back. So that's two of their best players. They were without him last year. So, and then he lost Fried. So I'm not so sure. Atlanta's
got a good manager. Whew, that manager wins games.
Yes, he does. So my standings are like I think the Phillies first, the Mets second, although their pitching is shaky. The Mets second, Atlanta third, the Nationals, a much improved Nationals team fourth, and Miami bringing up the rear. And Miami might have a worse record than the White Sox.
I can get with that. This is going to be short and sweet for me. I'm going to go Braves, Mets, Phillies, Nationals, Marlins. And I think it's going to be a 91, 92 win team that's going to win that division. I feel like the Phillies' arms have a lot of innings on them, and they're older. Wheeler is no longer a young man. Nola's definitely got some age on him. Then you have the Braves. It doesn't matter. Strider is out, but they'll just have somebody else that'll come in. look.
That manager's worth a few games.
Yeah, and I think the Mets got more in a tank, and they got the funds to pick up some players if they need to. So that's something to watch with them too. Let's get to the National League Central.
Okay. Well, in the NFL, it's the Bears. In the National League Central, it's the Cubs. The Cubs are going to finish first. They've added some stuff, and they look good. They have a very good manager and council.
Beat Brewers, huh? Somehow.
I almost picked the Brewers just because they figure out a way. But they're not going to. In fact, I picked Milwaukee to finish third. I got Cincinnati second. The Cincinnati Reds second. Their biggest asset this year, or biggest pickup, was their manager. Mm-hmm. And they've got Milwaukee third, the St. Louis fourth, and Pittsburgh, who will be in first place after the end of April, will finish last. They'll win April, and then that'll be it.
They got some older players, and their biggest thing is if they could just sign Skeens. If they can sign Skeens, go ahead and sign him. If they don't, they're going to burn next week.
Starting pitching. They have starting pitching. They have starting pitching.
They got starting pitching. Yeah. If they got a good mix of players.
Oh, we were talking about the Orioles yesterday. They used 6 pitchers and pitched a no-hitter in spring training. And it was against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, that hot-hitting team.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Reds as my team to watch. Well,
see, that's my surprise team in the National League is the Reds
because they have something that teams that the rules really help, and that's speed on the bases. They'll score runs, not have to hit the ball in a hitter-friendly ballpark as it is. And I will have the Brewers second, the Cubs third, Cardinals, and Pirates. But I would not be if the Cardinals come back to life this year. It's hard to believe the Cardinals are going to be bad 3 years in a row. I mean, that franchise
the St. Louis baseball Cardinals are one of the best franchises. Weren't best run franchises in baseball, but
right.
Their 2 best players had bad years last year, and now one of them is the Yankees.
Yeah, and they're older. I mean, they're just older guys now.
Yeah, yep. And the young guys didn't come through for them.
Yeah. We're gonna go out west. Dodgers. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Rockies, Padres, Giants. What do you got, Dad?
I got the Dodgers finishing first, their AAA team finishing second, their AA team finishing third. I have the Dodgers in first place, Arizona in second place. San Diego, I think, is going to take one step back. And again, folks, this is predicated on injuries.
Right.
You know, if Arizona has some of the injuries they had last year, they're not going to do this. But I just think Arizona is going to come back. The people forget they were in the World Series a few years ago. San Diego, the Giants, who I think will be improved, but they're just in a tough division. And then the Colorado Rockies, who are always last. They got some good young players.
Don't be surprised 3 teams out of this division make the playoffs.
It's a good possibility. The Dodgers, Arizona, and San Diego.
Yeah. And the Giants, I think, are going to make.
And let's face it, in the playoffs last year, the hardest playoff for the Dodgers was San Diego.
And the thing to watch with the Giants is they got cap room, well, whatever they call it. They got money to make moves at the deadline.
At the deadline, yes.
So where the other teams really do not have that luxury. So that's something to watch with the Giants. Little things like that make a difference. I believe coaches make a difference in Major League Baseball because to deal with all this guys that worry more about their jewelry hanging around their neck than playing ball, it's hard to get these guys to play 162 games. That's why the ones you see the same coaches win no matter what. Like, you know, Schnitzker or whatever, however you say his name for the Braves. Snitker and the Brewers and the Brewers franchise, you know, their coach went to the Cubs, but I think he's a great coach. You just see these guys that just know how to, you know, get their guys to play all year, and it's a long year. So,
well, I mean, Cincinnati, I thought about maybe picking Cincinnati ahead of the Cubs, but Cincinnati, I don't know if they have the pitching. Man,
speed kills, and you get those a lot of those guys. I mean, of course, they got Ellie, but man, and he's hitting already. You know, you put the rest of those guys on, all of them can run. And I think running is back in the majors. You know, we might see some teams that, you know, can't afford to buy the big boppers, look for speed. And with on-base percentage, you know, you can turn a walk into a double real easily now in Major League Baseball, the way the rules are. It makes the game more exciting. You know, whatever we hated about the rules, I really, the last couple of years have been really fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
if I had to pick 2 teams right now to go to the World Series, I'd pick the Dodgers and the Rangers.
Dodgers, Rangers. I would go with the Dodgers, even though that's a hard one to take because
it's hard to go back 2 years in a row.
Not only that, I think they're spread thin, and as weird as it's hard to say, they won without Betts and Freeman, which was really good for them. But Betts and Freeman are not young men anymore. You got Shohei, who is, we know, is can be a little on the brittle side. You got other players on that team the same way, and you don't know how long they can get away with that. Those things. You know, Freeman did it on 1 foot, most miraculous World Series we've ever seen. But, you know.
He knocked in 12 runs in 5 games.
Yeah, that's
but he tied Bobby Richardson, and Bobby Richardson needed 7.
Who would I go with in the American League? I think
the National League on a whole is stronger than the American.
The National League looks much better, but if I went American League, you went Rangers. I can't do the Rangers. I'm going to go with Boston. I feel good about Boston this year. Everything I've read, everything.
Last year you picked Toronto.
Yeah, I feel, well, I'm always good about that. That division is a power division. It's just the way it is. I don't think Cleveland's got enough. I don't think the Royals have enough.
Those teams in the Central.
AL West, there's nobody in that division.
When they get in the playoffs, they can't score.
Yeah.
That's Seattle's problem. Seattle's fantastic, but they can't score.
Yeah. So That Boston, and that field, they're built for that field right now.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I think they're going to take advantage of that this year. He started coming on late.
So who do you think's coming out of the National? You said Boston.
Dodgers and Boston.
You're going to pick the Dodgers and Boston.
It's hard not. I mean, you know.
And you're right about that. And you're right about there's two Achilles. You have 2 feet. So the Dodgers have 2 Achilles heels. One is their age, and the possibility of injury. And the second thing is they can never keep their pitchers healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons these guys.
Well, I mean, that's why they have 12 pitchers that are all major league pitchers, and they're going to be. I don't know where they're going to, stack them.
The Orioles have the same problem. They have injuries in their pitching staff. Every team does, but the Orioles and the Dodgers set, world records last year for injuries in their pitching staff. All right, the Orioles. Wow, I couldn't believe they didn't pick up after they lost Burns. They should have tried to sign Burns, I would think. But after they lost him, they should have tried to get somebody, but they didn't try. So we'll just have to wait and see. I hope I'm wrong because I'm a root for him.
Well, I think Corbin Burns is who you're talking about.
Yeah,
really wanted to go home and pitch. He wanted to go to his hometown. He took a bargain. He took less money to go.
Yeah, he took less money than he could have got elsewhere to go back.
Right. So you can't fight. You can't fight that. It's hard. Some people realize that. Do I be happy make a whole lot of money or be less happier making a little bit more than a whole lot of money? I mean,
and if you go to another team and make a whole lot of money, but your wife and family are upset, then you're going to be upset.
Yeah.
If they're miserable, you're going to be miserable. So that's just like, from the Rams, the quarterback, he could have signed for big bucks in New York and played for the Giants, but his wife and kids didn't want to leave LA. So he signed with the Rams. For less money because, hey, happy wife, happy life. So that's just how that works. And so you just you're right.
Eating crabs in Baltimore is good, but man, I bet you eat some Arizona food is real good. I just, but
get some good tacos in Arizona.
I bet you some good food eating right there. Just Southwest, Tex-Mex, whatever you want to call it. I bet you it's good. Got anything else to add? Did you have a sleeper in the National League? I kind of said mine when I was.
You mean if I have a sleeper other than the Dodgers? Oh yeah, the team I pick every year, the Phillies.
The Phillies.
I picked the Phillies.
Who to watch? Like, who's your team to watch? Like you said, in the American League, you said it was
the Reds in the National League.
Yeah, I'm with you, Reds. I said
you picked the Reds to win the division. I picked them to finish second. I think the Reds are that's gonna be a surprise team, and I just think that in the American League, I picked the West Sacramento A's.
I just don't think it's going to be a team. Like I said, it's going to be a low 90 win team that wins that division.
Don't be surprised. Just don't be surprised if their starting pitcher stays healthy, that the Toronto Blue Jays don't make a big noise in the playoffs in the American League. Just don't be surprised.
And I really think I haven't heard where their money is, but they're trying to re-sign Junior. I haven't heard them trying to re-sign anybody else.
Bichette is up this year too.
Right. But they lost out on a lot of free agents. So my feeling is they got money as well to make moves at the deadline. That is something to watch for. What teams have money to make moves at the deadline if there's moves to be made? If players, on bad teams that were supposed to be better, whatever, guys on 1 years, things like that.
Well, when we do this show next week, we'll have a few games under our belt, and we'll see. Pittsburgh will be in first place. We know that, but it's just it won't be long, but they'll be in first place. But
so all the teams are playing on opening day again this year,
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. So they're all playing on Thursday.
They all play on Thursday, and then they play. They play some games on Friday, and then they got the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Right. So it's yeah, I think they're going to take one day off in that weekend. So I'm really excited. I got to work. I usually take off, but I've missed too many days this year already. So my boss thought I was going to take off. I was like, no, I'll be at work. It didn't work out last year to watch the Mets lose. So I have a lot more baseball to watch than just opening day. But believe me, I'll be paying attention to what's going on and racing to get home to watch. But yeah, I'm excited. Been watching some Ken Burns. I've been watching, some other stuff to get ready. Just love this time of year. Baseball is my thing. I think everybody knows that, and can't wait.
Yeah, I do have use them.
I can't. Oh wait! I can't wait to also talk to my dad every Sunday once the season starts to hear how bad is.
I just have to say this.
Okay.
The first pitch of the game Tuesday morning when for some reason the Cubs were the home team both times. They didn't wear home uniforms in the second game. The Dodgers did, but they hit in the bottom of the inning, which I found strange. But who cares? The first pitch from the Cub pitcher was 3 or 4 inches above the strike zone, and the umpire called it a strike. I said, well, they got that out of the way real early. But I will admit, the whole game, this guy called a high pitch a strike. So once the umpire establishes that, you have to adjust. As long as he was consistent, I don't have a problem with it. So anyway, I did.
They were a home team because on the schedule it was their 2-game home stand.
Yeah, okay. And anyway, my yogiism this week. He attended President Gerald Ford's White House dinner one year, and he was asked about it afterwards, and he said it was too hard to have a conversation because there were too many people talking. And here again, when you look at it from his perspective, it makes sense.
Right.
He said, because all the people talking, I couldn't hear. But he didn't say that. That's not the way he said. And then President Ford later told this story about Yogi. They were at a charity golf tournament in Vail, Colorado. And they were like on the 7th tee or something like that. And Yogi hit his drive and his pants split. Well, everybody laughed. And what they found out when he turned around and pulled his pants apart, he had Yogi Bear shorts on. So Gerald Ford said that was one of the highlights of his life.
Nice.
So anyway, I just thought I'd add that in there. So
well,
we'll be waiting. We'll be talking about the start of the season next week.
Yeah, please put your picks down below or any thoughts or, tell us how ridiculous we were talking about, whoever, whatever team. Love to talk about that more. Notice it's been a longer one this week, talking about getting it out there. Me and my dad could talk about this all day and very easily. So luckily we're getting it less than 45 minutes. So until next time, like, share, tell a friend, and we will subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see ya.